Has your business been affected by COVID-19? The Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center is available to assist entrepreneurs and small businesses in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The VISBDC is sustained by the University of the Virgin Islands and the U.S. Small Business Administration and collaborates with local agencies to support the small business community. The VISBDC is nationally accredited and provides free consulting, business education training, and technical assistance. Attend workshops with subject matter experts from both the public and private sector. From idea generation to exit strategies, the staff at the VISBDC is ready to assist you. Now is the time to contact them, so don't wait. Call or email them to find out how they can help your business grow and succeed.
Through my online store alone, we've sold over $500,000 worth of spices. That's so crazy.
I went from selling to my town to selling nationwide in 1 week. It's a whole new business now.
Good afternoon and welcome to Lunch and Learn. My name is Mary Jo Williams. I'm the Network Training Coordinator for the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center, and I will be your facilitator and moderator for today's session. And today's session is the Economic Development Commission Eligible Supplier Program. And our presenter for today is Ms. Chanel Peterson. And let me give you a little bit of information about Ms. Peterson while she changes her slide on the presentation. Ms. Chanel Peterson is the Managing Director of Marketing and Vision 2040 for the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority, USVIEDA, in the United States Virgin Islands. In this capacity, Peterson and her team are tasked with the internal and external marketing, communications, and public relations effort for the agency and its 4 units. Additionally, Ms. Peterson oversees business attraction and diversification of the Virgin Islands economy through the promotion of the Virgin Islands Economic Development Commission Tax Incentive Program. In 2019, her role was expanded to include disaster recovery, and she secured a $1.5 million grant for funding the development of the 20-year Economic Development Vision Plan, commonly referred to as Vision 2040, for the territory under the leadership of the USVIEDA. Prior to joining the USVIEDA, Peterson ran her own business as a haven for marginalized business groups in a commonly viewed exclusive industry in Kansas City, Missouri. It is here she found her love for service and commitment to improving the quality of life for all members of her community. With over 10 years of marketing and tactical expertise in the private sector with a Fortune 400 company, Peterson returned to the territory and joined the USVI Economic Development Authority in June 2018. Ms. Peterson holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in elementary education. She received her Advanced Marketing Strategy certificate from Tulane University in 2011 and a certificate in Business Marketing and Attraction from the International Economic Development Council in May of 2020. Without any further delay, I present to you Ms. Chanel Peterson.
Good afternoon. Thank you
Peterson.
so much, Mary Jo. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, fantastic. So I am filling in today for our Managing Director for Economic Development, and that's Ms. Margarita Benjamin. So thank you for having us. This partnership with SBDC has been truly fruitful, and I hope that we have lots of engagement throughout this presentation. So we will be talking about the Eligible Virgin Islands Supplier Program. So for many folks, this is the first time they're hearing about this particular program that's offered through the Economic Development Commission. And for others, you may be familiar with it, but you don't quite know how to apply or if you're even eligible to participate. So I'm hoping to provide plenty of answers today in reference to this particular program. All right, so to start things off, we're going to be talking about the procurement policy. And I would like to note that this procurement policy can be found in the rules and regulation under the Economic Development Commission, which is located on our website, www.usvieda.org. So the procurement policy indicates that to provide for responsible United States Virgin Islands business enterprises to have the maximum practical opportunity to participate in procurement activities of beneficiaries as suppliers of goods or providers of services. Beneficiaries are required to do their utmost to facilitate the participation of USVI businesses pursuant to the EDC rules. So what does that mean? So essentially, Virgin Islands businesses are chosen as first pick for the EDC beneficiaries to utilize either goods or providers of services through this procurement activity. And so we're going to dive a bit deeper as to like what that means and why this program was initially initiated. So to continue on the procurement side from section 708, all EDC beneficiary is required to agree in writing to employ or contract and to require all contractors retained by him to employ or subcontract for services and to purchase goods, materials, and supplies with and from those persons, firms, or corporations who are residents of the Virgin Islands or two, incorporated under the laws of the Virgin Islands and licensed for 1 year or more prior to the initial date of any such employment, contract, subcontract, or purchase. So we have 70 plus EDC beneficiaries currently in our EDC tax incentive program. And based on this procurement, these beneficiaries are required to utilize Virgin Islands businesses either to employ a subcontract for purchasing of goods, materials, and supplies. So what that means is they have to first identify if a good, material, or supply can be found from Virgin Islands businesses, and if that's not able or they don't have the type of good, material, or supply utilized or available through Virgin Islands businesses, then they are essentially provided a waiver to procure outside of the territory. And we're going to talk a bit more about what does it mean with regards to the criteria for residents of the VI, as well as the business requiring at least to be licensed for 1 year prior to actually receiving that employment, contract, or subcontract from the particular beneficiary. So the procurement continues with essentially the same exact language, reiterating that beneficiaries are required to contract individuals are required to contract businesses in the territory that can offer these products, goods, materials, or services. In addition to that, in order to remain eligible for benefits, a beneficiary and all contractors retained by him are required to hire residents of the Virgin Islands, as well as to subcontract or to procure locally from Virgin Islands suppliers. A beneficiary and all contractors retained by him is required to invite competitive bidding pursuant to Title 31, Section 236, and is to notify each bidder in writing regarding the name of the successful bidder and the amount of the bid. So EDC rules and regs again provides the guidelines for local procurement. And if you are avid VI Daily News readers, you will see that often this procurement is, you'll see the requests for services, products, and materials in the VI Daily News. That's a very common publication that's used. And I see that, okay, perfect. There's a comment in the chat. Awesome. We're good to go. Other places that the beneficiaries will post their needs would be on the VI source or VI consortium, but generally you'll find them in the VI Daily News. looks like we have So this is now just talking about the bid requirements. As mentioned, you'll find that these are published in our local newspapers. As it indicates, the notice shall be published at least 5 calendar days and shall intervene between the date of last publication and the final date for submitting bids. And this is really more relevant to the beneficiary and less to the eligible supplier. But as stated, you will receive this presentation, so you'll have access to know what it is that the requirements are for the beneficiary as they publish their bids. And so some last bits to note: all bids shall contain a specific itemization of all units bid upon and the unit price. And then also all prospective suppliers shall be required to submit a copy of their VI business license. Procurements resulting from solicitations directed only toward eligible Virgin Islands suppliers, or procurements from eligible Virgin Islands suppliers not resulting from solicitations. So with that, we're going to talk a bit more on what would allow a beneficiary to not have to either A, utilize the service or the product or the material from an eligible supplier, but then also what are some of the waivers that do exist for eligible suppliers that would still allow them to participate in the bidding process. So the eligible Virgin Islands supplier means it's a responsible U.S. Virgin Islands supplier of goods or services which meet the following criteria. So now we're going to dive a bit more into the criteria to become the eligible VI supplier. So first is, as of the date of certification, the supplier has been licensed to do business and has actually conducted business in the U.S. VI for at least 1 year. Now, if anyone is familiar with getting a license here in the territory, we know that sometimes that not just there can be a small delay, but let's say that you get your license in May of 2020, but you actually don't start conducting business until December of 2020. Your year will not be counted until the day that you actually started conducting business. And the representatives from EDA will determine, based on your tax returns, when you started conducting business. In addition to that, the supplier physically maintains its principal place of business in the U.S. Virgin Islands. This is more with regards to, let's say, an individual utilizes Amway, so the majority of their product is not located in the territory, or they're really receiving commissions from outside of the territory. That's generally where an eligible supplier would not be, or a business, in the Virgin Islands would not be eligible to be a part of the supplier program, is because they don't have the principal place of the business in the VI, and as well as the noise. And they may, let's say, have, again, the majority of the inventory off island. They don't have a physical space in the territory, and or they receive commissions primarily from outside of the territory. So those are just a couple of the ways that a business may not be eligible. And I would like to hone in a little bit more on the word responsible. So when businesses are looked at to participate in the eligible supplier program, the representatives from EDA really look at the standard of good practice, if there are any challenges or problems existing with other agencies, really just looking for businesses that are responsible so that we can ensure that when they're working with the EEC beneficiaries, it'll be a very a smooth or efficient process. And so that may be another reason, if a business hasn't been responsible in the past, that would make them not eligible for the supplier program. But I'm pretty sure we're going to dive a little bit deeper there, as well as we talk about what it means to be a responsible business, and ensuring that if you have had challenges in the past, you can bring your business to a place where it is deemed responsible and can participate. And as was mentioned, I am totally good with taking questions as they come. So I see that a question is in the chat right now, and it says, I have a DBA for the product that I'm considering for the program. I've been producing the item for over a year, but it operates under a DBA. Would that be an issue? That's a great question. Now, again, when it comes to the DBA and when it comes to your actual entity that you filed taxes for, that's what they're going to be looking at. As long as you can show proof that you have been in business for a year, you would be eligible. However, depending on the documentation that you provide, that's really going to determine whether you meet the minimum criteria of being in operation for that year. Now, normally too, when you're providing a product, a service, or a good, it won't be like they won't pinpoint that particular product. It's based on the business. So if you have, as you mentioned, maybe several DBAs, then that may be taken into consideration. Or they'll simply look at essentially the company that you file your taxes on, that company being in existence and operating for the year. So it'd be great. Towards the end, we have the contact information for Ms. Margarita Benjamin, as well as her team, so they can answer some of the technical in details in regards to this particular program. So more on the criteria and what it means for the eligible supplier program. So 3, the supplier maintains an inventory in the USVI appropriate to the size of its business. So we talked a bit about that already. And the supplier is in compliance with all US Virgin Islands laws and regulations, including all tax laws. And that's going to also, again, be specific to the type of business. So there are special laws or permits or certifications that's required for your particular business, then the EDA will be looking at all of these essentially elements in order to determine compliance and eligibility. And then lastly, as mentioned with regard to being a responsible business, the supplier is in good standing with all agencies and departments of the government of the US Virgin Islands and has been issued a current certificate of good standing, certificate of existence, or certificate of trade name as may be appropriate. And so throughout the presentation, we are going to talk a bit more on how you also can maintain your status as an eligible supplier program, because a lot of times a company may or business may sign up to or apply to become part of the eligible supplier program, and let's say they receive approval, but a couple years goes by, they see a bid that comes out in the daily news, they're interested, they want to apply for that particular or submit a proposal for that particular bid. Oftentimes they'll have to ensure that they're still in good standing, and so they have to make a special request to the Economic Development Commission to receive not only the documentation from our side to confirm with the beneficiary, but also they would need to provide to the EDC that they still have a certificate of good standing, a certificate of existence, or a certificate of trade name, and making sure that's all up to date. All right, so now we're going to talk a bit about these 3 types of corporate entities for the eligible supplier program, because when you're operating as a business, you don't have to just exclusively operate under a particular type. Again, it's going to really come down to how you file your taxes. So the first type is as an individual. So an individual can apply for the eligible supplier program, and they can, of course, once they are approved to the program, they can begin to submit bids or proposals for bids that are put out by the EDC beneficiary. So as an individual, the individual must be a resident of the U.S. Virgin Islands. And so resident is determined here by, again, taxes. So once you can show proof of tax, then you've had that year in the territory as a resident, then you are applicable or eligible as an individual. Then you also have a firm or partnership. Each member must be a resident of the U.S. Virgin Islands. And then lastly, a corporation or LLC must be incorporated in the USVI, be in good standing, and over 50% of the voting stock must be owned by residents of the U.S. Virgin Islands. So there has been some inquiry in regards to, again, if you're an LLC, but as an LLC, you are still a sole proprietor, you would actually fall under an individual. So you would fall under as an individual versus as in a corporation or LLC if you don't have, or if you don't file as an incorporated company. And the same thing goes for an LLC that perhaps has two main owners. You could potentially, depending on how you file, again, if you file as a partnership, then you would file or you would apply as a partnership or firm. All right, no questions there. All right, so eligible VI suppliers annual reporting requirements. So as mentioned, we do request submittal annually to the EDC of the following in order to maintain your status as eligible Virgin Islands suppliers. Now, again, let's say that time goes by, you miss that time period, you can always go ahead and request information and or submit information so that when bids come out, you can appropriately submit a proposal because you have all your documentation in place. So one, you must submit a certificate of good standing or certificate of existence. Two, a current copy of your USVI business license. And three, once again, you shall comply with any and all reasonable requests from the Commission, especially relating to goods and or services provided to the beneficiary. And number three is important because this is how the EDC's compliance unit determines that the beneficiaries are meeting their requirements under their particular certificate. So it's really important for the eligible suppliers to have good paperwork, because at the end of the day, the EDC would be reaching out to identify or confirm that the beneficiaries actually utilized these eligible suppliers for either goods or services. And so that's going to be really important when you think about applying for this particular program. So some of the requirements for the EDC beneficiaries relative to procurement programs are as follows: to maintain an active list of all prospective Virgin Islands suppliers who are either regular suppliers to the beneficiary or have requested their names to be added to the list. And then number two is to publish. EDC beneficiaries, again, shall publish in newspapers of general circulation in the USVI a notice listing the types of goods and services it procures. Notices are published in January and July of each year. So continue on this slide, we've got the EDC beneficiary and suppliers requirements. So pursuant to the VI code, section 708, beneficiaries and contractors retained shall purchase all insurance from resident insurance companies, agents, or brokers licensed to operate in the Virgin Islands. And two, if a particular type of insurance is not available in the VI, the applicant shall submit to the Commission written certification from the Office of Banking Insurance that the insurance is unavailable. And that concludes the requirements for businesses to participate in the Eligible Suppliers Program. Are there any questions at this point?
We don't have any questions in the chat at this point, but why don't you go ahead and promote your upcoming programs?
Sure, and actually, even before I do that, one thing I guess I can note here is that So just accessibility, like where do you go to find the application? Where do you go to see the list of the beneficiaries? And then lastly, where can you even go to find the list of eligible suppliers? So all of this information is actually located on our website. So if you go to usvieda.org, there are going to be a few different areas where you can find this information. And so the first one is, because we get this question a lot, and it's, where do we find the list of beneficiaries? Because oftentimes, once a company actually becomes eligible for the suppliers program, they've been accepted, they sometimes want to take that initiate the engagement with our beneficiaries. And so when you're on our website, all you have to do is go to resources and go to beneficiaries. And we have the full list of all of our beneficiaries under the VI Economic Development Commission's tax incentive program listed out right there for you. And not only do you have the list of companies, but it also tells you what industry that they're in. And included within that list is contact information. So you'll have a name as well as an email. Now, that name and email may not be the exact person that you want to reach out to for this particular inquiry. However, it's still, a contact that you can reach out to find out more information about who would be the best person that would be procuring these services. And then also, if you're looking for the eligible suppliers, right under resources as well, you'll find eligible suppliers, and then you'll have the full list. Currently, we have over 300 businesses, Virgin Islands businesses, that are listed under the eligible suppliers program. And as I mentioned before, we have 70 plus EDC beneficiaries that are within the EDC tax incentive program. So those are just two places where you can get the list of the beneficiaries and the list of the current eligible suppliers. And when you go through the eligible suppliers, you'll see that, excuse me, when it comes to the product or service, it's quite extensive, because at the end of the day, based on the certificate for the beneficiaries, they have to go through this step. They have to identify a Virgin Islands business that can potentially provide this particular service. And that can be from, and now I'm just going to read off some of the different types. That could be, retailing, paper, janitorial services, waste services, high-speed internet, accounting services, installation, construction, advertising, landscaping. So at the end of the day, if you provide a product or a service, you've been a business in the territory, been conducting business with a license for over a year, it's a really great tool for you to get additional business, because we have 70 plus businesses that are actively seeking individuals across so many types of products and services. And again, I feel like a lot of times people really emphasize their services and not consider the type of product that they have that can also be eligible. Example, if a beneficiary is looking for a particular type of gift, or if they're looking for artwork, all of these fall under and could fall under the procurement. And so they would potentially bid for these types of services or goods. And so it's always a good idea to just apply and see if you're eligible. And then the second thing I wanted to mention is the ease in actually applying. So again, if you go on our website, usvieda.org, and you click on the drop-down menu and you select About USVI EDA, and then select Economic Development Commission, then you can select Eligible Suppliers Program. And at this particular page, you have the application right there that you can download and fill out and submit via email. And the application it's 4 pages long. It's not an extensive document. If anything, where the follow-up is getting the supporting documentation, proving that you are a VIA business, you have good standing, and you have all the certificates that's needed within your particular industry. But I see we have a few questions in the chat, so I'm going to get to those right now. So one question is, does the SBA moratorium announcement, moratorium on Bonafide place of business requirements for the business development program, impact the supplier requirements here at all? And that I can say I have no idea, and I would revert that specific question to Miss Margarita Benjamin, because she's going to have those technical details. One thing I can note, and this may be relevant, it may not be relevant, I may be completely off on this, but I will share this nonetheless. So if a business is operating in the territory, they have a VI business license, but the owner is not a Bonafide resident, then they would apply under the eligible supplier program as an LLC or firm or a partnership, despite not actually having a Bonafide residence. Now I see here that, again, I'm not privy to this exact question, so I would definitely pose this question to Ms. Benjamin. And just for everyone's ease of reference, I'm going to drop her email address in the chat right now for any questions that I am unable to cover. So another question is, what type of insurance is required for eligible suppliers? That's going to more than likely fall under the type of business that you have. Different businesses require different insurance. As was mentioned, as once that insurance company or that insurance is provided in the US Virgin Islands, then you'll be eligible. And if it's not provided through an insurance company in the Virgin Islands, then you would have to get that waiver from one of the offices under the Lieutenant Governor that was mentioned in a previous slide. All right, another question that came in. Once an application is complete, how long does it take before a supplier is admitted into the program? I don't have the exact date from complete application to being accepted into the program. That would be another good question to pose to Miss Benjamin. I'm trying to see if we have anybody from her team that happens to be here that could answer that. No, but we can definitely find that out for sure, how long it takes. Any other questions coming in? Nothing so far. All right, so as we're waiting for more questions, and to note, I guess one other thing, let me go to this. Let's see, this last slide may have her contact. There we go. So if you have questions that have been unanswered today, you can always call our St. Thomas office, 340-714-1700. Or you can call our St. Croix office at 340-773-6499. And as I did in the chat, I did place the email address from Ms. Benjamin at mabenjamin@usvieda.org. So that's all the contact information. And of course, as mentioned, you can visit our website, and we do have additional information on our website on the eligible supplier program. But like I tell all businesses, that I come in contact with here in the territory, there's no loss to joining the eligible supplier program. And if you're providing a unique service or unique product, I also wouldn't let that deter you from actually submitting an application to the program, simply because, again, because the 70+ beneficiaries have to go through this procurement process, there's a lot could be gained from actually being a contractor, or receiving a contract, or becoming a consultant, or just selling your products through this particular program. I think the one thing for some businesses is just as always, just the paperwork. But if you've got that under control, you're good to go. And you should definitely go ahead and apply for this particular program. And if you, what my other recommendation is, I know it's very easy to just kind of want to send a billion questions, but I would take a look at the application form, which is on our website. You can download it or you can read it straight off the website. Take a look at the website and you'll see that even on the application, there's very limited information that's needed, but it's also going to direct you to the specifics on the documentation that's required to show proof of residency, show proof of business establishment in the territory, as well as, thank you, it looks like the eligible supplier program application, oh, excuse me, the presentation is in the chat as well. So you can take a look at the application online and it'll tell you the documents that are needed, and that'll probably give you a good idea as to the type of business or the way that your business is structured, if it's eligible for the program. And let's see if there are any more questions in the chat at this time. Nothing in the chat. And I know that we did have a few folks who had joined us on Facebook. So if you are still looking on Facebook, we do have our eyes on the live. So if you have any questions there, you can ask questions there as well on Facebook. So while we wait for questions to come in, with this great opportunity to partner with SBDC and talk about the programs and services that are available through the Economic Development Authority, I'd also like to mention that we are offering free training courses starting or launching tomorrow. The first one is our export training. This is a 12-hour course, and this 12-hour course starts on 5 p.m. tomorrow and will continue on Saturday, and then we'll continue again on Monday and conclude on Wednesday. And throughout this particular training, you'll have the opportunity to learn how to actually create an export plan. You'll also learn how to classify your products for exporting, and there'll be elements of pricing product as well for exporting, and then using international terms for sale and export sale, as well as financing and insurance required when exporting products. And so this product is 4 classes, and it is limited, and we have a few spots left. We do ask that you attend all of the classes to complete the 12-hour training. And as well, again, it's tomorrow starting at 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and that's, Eastern Standard Time. And then it will continue on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., on Monday from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., and then on Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7:30. So we try to make it accessible for individuals who perhaps may have a 9 to 5 and they still want to learn about exporting their goods internationally or outside of the territory. The second training that we have is also launching tomorrow. However, that one launches at 6 p.m. So you can't do both. You have to choose between either the export training course or the small business camp. So the small business camp is with Andrew Morrison. He is the president of Small Business Camp. And during this particular weekend, you'll learn how to generate sales online, how to write a book in a weekend, how to attract investors, how to package your ideas for profit, how to build a team, and much more. So for this particular training course, it'll be conducted on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So on Friday, it launches from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. On Saturday, you've got a full day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Sunday, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. I think one of the greatest things mentioned about this particular small business camp is the additional 16 weeks of follow-up sessions. So the group gets together I believe it's every other Sunday, and they talk about, and they have additional sessions where they continue to learn and perhaps include real life examples of what they're doing, and to get that assistance and support from Mr. Morrison, as well as the entire group. And both of these can be found on our website, usvieda.org/webinars. However, if you are on our Facebook page, we do have both of these set up on our Facebook pages, as well as on our Instagram and on Twitter. You can find the links to register for both of these trainings. Now, the registration for the export training does end today, because you are required to reach out to Ms. Nadine Martina Ken, the Managing Director for the Enterprise Zone Commission, to identify whether you're eligible for that particular training. However, for the small business camp, there are a series of questions that gives the presenter a really good idea of where you are with your business, and that's open to all. So whether you're starting a business, or you want to grow your existing business, or you even just have a business in mind, then the small business camp is a really good weekend to participate in. And so again, both of those can be found on our website, usvieda.org/webinars, because they will both be conducted virtually. Now, unlike most of our webinars that we have with EDA, these will not be shared via Facebook Live. So you will have to be in attendance and participating via Zoom to actually learn from both of these trainings. And keep in mind, again, these are free trainings. These are the types of trainings that would cost people hundreds of dollars. And through the Small Business Administration's State Trade Expansion Program STEP, we're able to offer the export training course. And then through a grant provided by the incubator program within EDA, we're able to provide for free the small business camp to our Virgin Islands businesses. So I'm going to go back and see if there's anything else in the chat. Doesn't look like there's anything else. And so for folks who may not be familiar, because a lot of times I think because the EDA has so many units, it can get a little confusing as to what falls under the Economic Development Authority. So just for a little clarity, so within the Economic Development Authority, we have 4 units. The Economic Development Commission, and within the Economic Development Commission, we have several programs. The most known program is the Tax Incentive Program, which is attracting businesses to diversify the economy and to create jobs for residents of the territory. Also within the Economic Development Commission is our Small Business Tax Incentive Program, which offers similar benefits as the main program, but these are specific to residents of the Virgin Islands, are really Virgin Islanders, to participate. And so though you get the same benefits, the requirements to maintain eligibility aren't as extensive, because we wanted to make the small business tax incentive program more accessible to Virgin Islanders, because at the end of the day, creating jobs often comes from small businesses. And so the more support we have for small businesses in the territory, the better for the economy, the better for quality of life and place for all Virgin Islanders. And then, of course, we did mention today the Eligible Suppliers Program, which also falls under the Economic Development Commission, is just another tool that's part of the EDC Tax Incentive Program that supports small businesses or businesses in the territory by mandating procurement of goods and services by Virgin Islands businesses. Another unit within the Economic Development Authority is the Enterprise Zone Commission. And same thing within the Enterprise Zone Commission, you've got the STEP program, which supports and builds exporting and supporting manufacturers and local artisans in the territory. One of the main programs out of the Enterprise Zone Commission is Revitalizing the Enterprise Zones, which consist of Savan, Upstreet, Downstreet, and Garden Street in St. Thomas, and in the towns of Christiansted and Frederiksted in St. Croix. So these zones were once vibrant community centers and or economic centers and drivers in the territory. And so the purpose of the program is to not only beautify existing business buildings in these areas, but also to encourage investment and new businesses that meet the community plans through tax credits as well as incentives specific to the enterprise zones in both St. Thomas and St. Croix. And then also within the Enterprise Zone Commission, we have other programs that support young people, such as the the name slips me, but we have a program that supports young people by providing a 6-week course where it encourages entrepreneurship. And so these gentlemen, they go through how to start their own business, how to create a business plan. And at the end of the program, they sort of do a Shark Tank style of presentation to their speakers on a particular business or product or service. And then the third unit within the Economic Development Authority is the Economic Development Bank. The Economic Development Bank provides finances, financial assistance through loans across many different industries. And then also within the Economic Development Bank is providing technical assistance. So the Business Incubator Program, which is offering the Small Business Camp weekend this weekend, falls under the Economic Development Bank. And then lastly is the Economic Development Park Corporation, which offers affordable leasing for commercial properties. So there is an industrial park both in St. Thomas and in St. Croix. However, we are at capacity in St. Croix, and I believe there's about 10% of availability in St. Thomas. So for any of these units or programs or services, you can always visit usvieda.org. You can also call either the St. Thomas office or the St. Croix office. And then lastly, I can put in the chat, you can always email as well, info@usvieda.org to get more information about any of these programs or services. Now, due to COVID, our office is not open to the public. However, we do have our receptionist who stands ready to answer your call. And of course, you can always email us to get a more speedy response at times. So it looks like there are still no questions at this time with regard to the eligible supplier program. So I'm going to turn it back over to Mary Jo.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Ms. Chanel Peterson. That was a lot of information. And for those that want additional information on the Enterprise Zone program, we will be featuring that on October the 21st here at Lunch and Learn. So you can come back and join Ms. Nadine Marchena Ken for that presentation. Now, but today is not over. There is more information available for people that are starting their business and within the first couple of years of being in business. In collaboration with the USVI SCORE, we are sponsoring a program this evening on simple steps for starting a business. And that is actually a 4-week program. Last week was the first session, and we have 3 more sessions every Thursday night through the end of September from 6 to 8 p.m. And so that program is tonight at 6 p.m. You can register on our Facebook page. You can register from our web page. You can register from our web portal. So definitely check that out. And hopefully some of you might have gotten a copy of our BizBuzz. That's basically a monthly newsletter that we send out, and it has links to all of these different programs also. And then next week, We will not have any SBDC webinar. No, I take that back. The only SBDC webinar next week will be the Simple Steps on Thursday evening from 6 to 8. So with that, we want to thank Ms. Chanel Peterson for representing the Economic Development Authority today. And if you want more information on her Vision 2040, you can go to the EDA's website for that. We want to thank you on behalf of our staff on St. Thomas and St. Croix for coming out, giving us this great information. And we want to thank our audience for joining us. So on behalf of our state director, Mr. Ted Gutierrez, and the SBDC staff and the EDA staff, thank you all for joining us. And we will see you hopefully this evening in Simple Steps. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.